What is the dumbest animal on Earth? From animals who mistake their own reflections for rivals to others who swim in circles because they forgot where they started, the animal kingdom is brimming with characters who might not make it past kindergarten. While mammals and birds generally exhibit more complex cognitive abilities than reptiles, amphibians, and sea creatures, intelligence in the animal kingdom is diverse. Each species has adapted to its environment, yet some rely on rigid survival strategies, minimal problem-solving, and specialized diets that make them seem dumb by human standards. 1. Koala. Koalas are often considered the opposite of intelligent animals due to their limited cognitive abilities and highly specialized diet of eucalyptus leaves, which are both low in nutrients and mildly toxic. With small, smooth brains, koalas, sometimes colloquially called koala bears, struggle with basic problem-solving and often fail to recognize eucalyptus leaves if they're not attached to tree branches. This behavior reveals their dependency on familiar patterns. To conserve energy, koalas can sleep up to 20 hours daily, further limiting their adaptability. This reliance on a single, nutritionally poor food source and minimal responsiveness to environmental changes make them highly vulnerable outside their native forests. 2. Giant panda. Although biologically a carnivore, the giant panda relies almost entirely on bamboo, a low-calorie food that provides minimal nutrients. It must spend up to 16 hours a day eating to maintain its body weight. This extreme dietary specialization makes pandas highly vulnerable to food scarcity and environmental changes. Pandas also face reproductive challenges. Females are only fertile for a few days each year, and both males and females often seem uninterested in mating, especially in captivity. This lack of reproductive drive complicates conservation efforts, adding to the species' vulnerability. Pandas are also famously clumsy, often injuring themselves by falling from trees or tripping, which can seem unintelligent compared to more agile animals. With limited adaptability, pandas depend on bamboo-rich habitats and struggle outside their native environments. The giant panda's dietary restrictions, low reproductive drive, and limited flexibility contribute to its reputation as one of nature's least adaptable creatures. 3. Slow loris. The slow loris, a nocturnal primate from tropical regions, is often seen as one of nature's dumbest animals due to its sluggish habits and limited cognitive abilities. Though it's one of the planet's few venomous mammals, the slow loris rarely uses this defense. When threatened, the creature typically remains motionless, relying on camouflage rather than attempting to escape, an approach that leaves it highly vulnerable to predators. Its extremely slow movements and low metabolic rate make it suited to a quiet life in the trees. But these same traits hinder its ability to respond effectively to danger. Lacking adaptability, the slow loris is ill-equipped to handle sudden threats or environmental changes, a factor that contributes to its endangered status. The endearing creature's rigid survival strategies and minimal adaptability have earned it a reputation as one of the animal kingdom's less resourceful animals. 4. Secretary bird. The secretary bird, an African bird of prey known for using its powerful legs to stomp on snakes, straddles the line between dumb and clever animal behavior. While its stomping tactic resembles a kind of tool use, this instinct-driven approach is a rigid survival strategy that doesn't always work. If the bird mistimes its strikes, especially against venomous snakes, it risks serious injury. Despite its reputation for complex social behaviors and some cognitive flexibility, the secretary bird's tendency to rely heavily on brute force can limit its adaptability. When faced with unfamiliar or less predictable threats, it struggles to adjust its approach, highlighting that not all smart animals are equally adaptable. Though it's certainly not as dumb as animals that rely on basic instincts alone, the secretary bird's rigid and somewhat risky strategies reveal that intelligence in the animal kingdom can take many different, sometimes imperfect, forms. 5. Komodo Dragon. The Komodo dragon can be viewed as unintelligent in terms of cognitive abilities. As the world's largest lizard, this powerful reptile depends on brute strength and venomous saliva to capture prey, using straightforward ambush tactics instead of active hunting or problem-solving. Though highly effective as apex predators, Komodo dragons lack the learning capacity and flexibility typical of more cognitively complex animals. Their solitary and territorial behavior, combined with inflexible hunting methods, means they rarely demonstrate innovation or responsiveness to changing environments. While dumb may not apply to their survival skills, their instinct-driven approach and limited cognitive adaptability place them among animals that rely primarily on basic, unchanging strategies for survival. 6. Goblin Shark. With its unique extendable jaw and poor eyesight, the goblin shark is a deep-sea predator that relies on reactive hunting rather than complex strategies. Adapted to life in the dark depths of the ocean, the goblin shark uses an instinctual snap-and-grab approach, lunging forward with its protrusible jaw whenever prey drifts close enough to detect. This behavior is instinct-driven, as the shark lacks the cognitive complexity needed for active hunting or planning. Its movements and reactions are governed by reflex rather than any form of decision-making, and it shows minimal awareness of its surroundings beyond immediate prey detection. This primitive hunting strategy, while effective in its specific environment, reveals how simplicity can suffice in highly specialized habitats. Without the need for adaptability or environmental awareness, the goblin shark thrives in a niche where stealth and ambush tactics are more valuable than cognitive flexibility. 7. Horned lizard. The horned lizard has a unique defense mechanism, squirting blood from its eyes to startle predators. This extreme tactic highlights the lizard's limited cognitive complexity, as it relies almost exclusively on this bizarre behavior rather than fleeing or seeking cover. With its single-minded reliance on startling defenses, the horned lizard illustrates how rigid instincts can sometimes limit adaptability. 8. Japanese giant salamander. One of the world's largest amphibians, the Japanese giant salamander lives a slow-paced life in cold rivers. However, the creature shows minimal problem-solving skills and little awareness of danger. Nocturnal and sluggish, it relies on its large size and rock-like camouflage to avoid predators, often hiding under riverbed rocks rather than fleeing. Its instinctual behaviors make it vulnerable in changing environments, with little capacity for adaptability. 9. Box jellyfish. Lacking a brain or central nervous system, the box jellyfish operates with a simple nerve net that enables it to react to stimuli without conscious decision-making. It possesses primitive eyes that can detect light and shadow, but cannot interpret its surroundings, resulting in aimless drifting through the ocean. Its survival strategy depends entirely on its venomous tentacles, which automatically sting anything that comes into contact, whether friend or foe. This reactive, indiscriminate approach illustrates minimal intelligence and adaptability, as the box jellyfish functions more as a passive predator than an active hunter, driven purely by instinct in its specialized environment. 10. Cane toad. Originally introduced to Australia to control agricultural pests, the cane toad has become an invasive species, causing widespread ecological disruption. Known for its indiscriminate eating habits, this amphibian consumes nearly anything in its path, including insects, small animals, toxic substances, and even human garbage. Unfortunately, its voracious appetite and lack of dietary discretion devastate native species, as it outcompetes and even poisons local wildlife. While the cane toad has venomous glands that can deter some predators, it often wanders into unfamiliar or dangerous areas, showing little awareness of environmental hazards. This lack of adaptability, combined with rigid survival instincts, exemplifies how the cane toad's natural behaviors can backfire when placed in an environment for which it was never intended, ultimately posing risks to both native ecosystems and itself. 11th, turkey. Domesticated turkeys have limited spatial awareness and are easily confused, especially in large groups. Prone to panic, they sometimes cluster tightly in response to sudden noises or movements, which can lead to injuries as they trample or jostle each other in confusion. In the wild, turkeys rely on flocking behaviors to evade predators, moving together to maintain alertness and respond quickly to threats. Domesticated turkeys, on the other hand, have had these instincts weakened, making them more prone to confusion and panic in group settings. This often leads to behaviors that seem erratic or unnatural. These diminished instincts contribute to their vulnerability as they rely less on behavioral awareness and more on reactive, often uncoordinated responses, which gives them a reputation for being less intelligent than other animals. The turkey also has a reputation for being a flightless bird, but that's untrue. 12. Sloth. Sloths are perfectly adapted to a slow, low-energy lifestyle. They move so gradually that algae grow on their fur, providing natural camouflage in their dense forest environments. With poor eyesight and minimal brain power, sloths occasionally mistake their own limbs for tree branches, leading to clumsy, accidental falls. Their slow metabolism and leisurely movements are ideal for conserving energy in tropical habitats, but these same traits make them notoriously unresponsive to immediate dangers. When faced with predators, sloths often freeze in place rather than attempting to flee, displaying minimal adaptability. This limited reaction to threats highlights how their evolutionary adaptations, while effective in a stable ecosystem, come at the cost of flexibility and survival instincts. 13th, Japanese land snail. With one of the simplest nervous systems among land animals, the Japanese land snail demonstrates limited problem-solving skills and minimal response to threats. Japanese land snails rely on basic survival strategies, such as retreating into their shells when threatened, making them highly vulnerable in their natural environment. Their slow movement and lack of sensory awareness reduce their adaptability, making them an easy target for predators despite their shell's protection. 14. Echidna. The echidna, a small, spiny mammal native to Australia and New Guinea, is a fascinating yet simple creature that resembles a cross between an anteater and a porcupine. It is covered in sharp spines for protection and uses a long, sticky tongue to capture ants, termites, and other small insects. Echidnas have poor eyesight and rely heavily on their sense of smell to locate food. They use their short, powerful claws to dig into ant mounds and other insect nests. Largely instinctual, echidnas show little adaptability when faced with challenges or threats. When feeling threatened, they use a basic survival tactic of curling into a ball, exposing only their sharp spines to deter predators rather than actively escaping or seeking shelter. Despite their unique physical adaptations, echidnas exhibit limited problem-solving skills and lack the cognitive complexity found in more adaptable animals. Over time, the reliance on basic survival instincts over learned behaviors can reduce overall cognitive complexity in affected species.